but this is a speech from Patrick Henry. And so I told you to translate it into regular talk. And so I put you in a group. These colors represent different parts that different people would say. So this was the original text, and this is how you guys interpret it. This is the type of stuff that you guys would do. And you guys will be talking Spanish and English, figuring it out. All right, just listen to this. I think you're going to read this, the Old English part, and then you guys will take turns reading this second part here.
It is in vain, sir, to stimulate the matter. Gentlemen may cry peace, peace, but there is no peace. The war is actually begun. The next gale that is from the north will bring to our ears the crash of resounding arms. Our brethren are already in the field. Why are we here idle? What is this? What is the gentleman's wish? What would they have? This lecture dear of peace so sweet, as a prospect at the price of chains and slavery. Forbid it, Almighty God. I know not what course other may take, but as for me, give me liberty of dignity.
It is pointless, sir, to control the situation. Men may shout, peace, peace, but there is no peace. The fight has actually started.
The war has started. The next day, the strong wind blows from the north. Will bring to ears gunfire. The other colonies are already fighting. Why are we here? What are you waiting for?
Is life so precious and peace so sweet? What is the price for that precious life? At the price of chains and slavery. Don't we have the power of God? I don't care what course others may take or what they do. But for me, give me freedom or give me death.
That's fifth grade. So when you see that,
I vaguely remember, but I don't remember like days like this. Yeah.
When you see that, young person presenting in front of the class with their friends, the peers, what do you think when you see that? Like, what comes to mind? I'm just curious.
I can hear how it's still me beginning to learn English, but I was so confident and I just really wanted to get it, and I can hear it there.
I remember the first time you stood up in front of class and you gave a current event. You may not remember this, but
I remember you telling this story.
Yes, you were in fourth grade and you were, you didn't really speak too much English at that point. You had your current event, you had your article, and you went up in front of the class, and you said you wanted to go. And there were people who were like, no, don't make her go. Don't make her go. Like, what are we doing? And it was rough. It was rough, but you got through your thing. And for the first time after all those years teaching, I just broke out in tears.
Oh.
I just started crying. Everybody was looking at me like, what's wrong with Mr. Weaver? And I was crying because the courage and the vulnerability you showed and the persistence and the determination, you go. Because it's a risk as a teacher putting a kid up there like that. People thought I was just crazy. That's like, she can do it. She could do it, doggo. You go, baby. And it just was
You're
very
gonna
touching.
make me cry.
Well, you made me cry. So back at you. One of the things that people asked me to ask you was about how things felt and how your peers treated you. Was there pressure from the other kids not to learn English or to only talk in Spanish? Or do you remember anything like that?
So I do remember a lot, but I don't remember people pushing me to not speak English. I remember there were like a lot of little groups and stuff, and I remember floating between different groups just because that's what I liked. I do remember the people that spoke Spanish. We would speak in Spanish whenever we could, but I do remember other people. You would break us up into groups and we would have like activities to do. And I do remember people that just spoke English trying to communicate with me however they could, and then I would try to communicate with them. That's what I remember. I don't remember people pushing back, or if they did, maybe I just didn't take them seriously because I just really wanted to learn. Yeah. I do remember later on, people would go out of their way to make it easy for me to understand. Maybe it has to do a lot with your influence too, of letting people know like, oh, let her do it, let her do it.
It was tough love. I think having a class where the culture is good and people help each other makes a difference. This lesson, it was about history, but it really that wasn't my goal. Yes, I wanted you guys to know about Patrick Henry and American Revolution, all that stuff. But what I was really after was to get you guys to talk and think about vocabulary and how to say things, and they call it oral language development. Like I was trying to get you guys to build your language skills. And so when you're in groups and you're talking about, oh, what does this mean? And what does this phrase say? And what does it mean in Spanish? And how are we going to say this? And you guys disagree, and you'd come to me and say, she's wrong and she won't listen. I'd be like, well, you got to work it out, because that was the lesson, which was, how do we make this language go? The other thing is, and I don't know if you guys actually knew that. I probably should have told you, but whatever, it worked. The
It
other
was
thing
history.
is, yeah, it's history class. So, the other thing is, I don't know if you remember Renee. She's a Black girl in the picture. She's on the right. She was not in our class in the beginning. I would go next door, and they'd be acting up and crazy over there. And I'd be like, you, and you, and you, and you, come with me. And so she came to our classroom, and a bunch of other kids, they weren't really in our class. They just stayed, and we just kind of adopted them. So we had like a huge class, and I don't even know if anybody ever came back and said, hey, where'd that kid? Nobody even, it was crazy. Anyway,
Wow.
yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
But
I do remember people coming into class later on. I do remember that.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
and as you're mentioning, like the community that you built was really supportive.
when you're trying to learn a language, how important is it that the community feels safe and you can take risks? Or does that even matter?
Yeah, I think it does matter. So I can tell you about my mom, who is also a Spanish speaker, but she hasn't learned English. And what I see a lot in her is she's very hesitant to speak to speak English, even if she knows
Right.
the words. And I tell her, well, okay, if she wants to say something, she asks me, but then I stop her and I go, word by word, how would you say this? How would you say this? How would you say that? And then I asked her, okay, put it all together. And then she says it, but she is too self-conscious to speak it out loud. I don't know if it's because she's like older than me when I started learning, or if she's just surrounded by people who are going to make fun of her. But the community around me when I was learning was very supportive or encouraged me.
They better not say something bad.